Are you quietly wondering if it's time to just let the dream go? Not because you don't care, but because maybe you're starting to think, is this still realistic at my age? Or, if it hasn't happened by now, what are the odds it ever will? Maybe the dream was to write a book, or open a little shop, maybe start a business, or just live a life that actually feels like one you chose. Maybe it wasn't even one specific thing, just the sense that maybe life could still feel a little more right, a little more open, like something you haven't totally missed your shot at. Before you go down that road any further, hold up. You didn't come this far to tuck your dream into a rocking chair and let it go to sleep peacefully. Now's when you're finally old enough and bold enough to do it your way. So let's talk about what's really behind that urge to retire your dream and why that feeling might actually be the clearest sign that you're closer than ever. Because more often than not, it's not that the dream stopped mattering, it's that disappointment started piling up until your brain quietly stepped in and said, let's not do this to ourselves again. When your hopes get let down enough times, your brain starts running interference. It uses something called predictive coding. That's your brain remembering what went wrong before and stepping in to prevent you from going through it again, even if it means holding you back. So, if your dream has felt just out of reach for a long time, your brain may have started flagging it as a potential threat, not because it's dangerous, but because your nervous system now connects that dream with stress, frustration, and emotional letdown. And eventually, your whole system starts asking for relief. You start retreating without even realizing it. You do this emotionally, mentally, sometimes even physically. And it's not because you've given up, but because part of you is just tired of the push and pull. But here's where everything can start to shift. You don't have to kill the dream. You just have to stop measuring it against the timeline you thought it should follow. Because the moment you stop chasing your dream like it's out of reach and start treating it like something real through the way you think, feel, and act, that's when everything begins to shift. Okay, so how do you actually work with that in real life? Well, there's a difference between retiring a dream and evolving it. Most people confuse the two. They think if they tweak the dream or scale it back or shift it into something more doable, it means they've given up. But what if that's actually how you get there? So let's say 10 years ago, you dreamed of opening a cozy cafe. But now the idea of running a kitchen staff and dealing with permits and managing inventory makes you just want to lie down. Does that mean the dream is dead? No. It means the shape of your dream is catching up to the shape of your life. Maybe what you really wanted was connection, creativity, freedom, and purpose. So now that same dream might look like a home-based baking business, or a community supper club, or maybe a YouTube channel sharing your grandmother's recipes. The heart of the dream hasn't changed. It's just taking a different shape now. Dreams evolve because you evolve. And if you're over 60, the version of you holding the dream now is wiser, more grounded, and finally connected to what feels right for you. But most of us were never taught that adjusting a dream isn't failure, it's maturity. You're allowed to pivot. You're allowed to refine. You're allowed to pick up where you left off with a brand new version that actually fits the person you are now. And that dream you're reshaping, it's not just about what you're doing, it's about who you believe you are while you're doing it. Identity is actually the missing piece behind every dream that still feels stuck. This is where the way you think, feel, and see yourself starts shaping what you actually do and what you believe is possible. You don't get what you want. You get what you believe you are. So if you still see yourself as someone who's trying, waiting, or not there yet, your energy will keep recreating that version of you, not on purpose, but out of habit. This is where the law of assumption comes in. It's the idea that you manifest what you assume to be true about yourself. If you assume you're someone who wants to write a book someday, you'll always be someone who almost writes a book. But if you shift into the identity of someone who writes, someone who shares wisdom, someone who makes space for what matters to her, your actions start to line up and your outcomes follow. And those actions can be small. How you spend your time, what you say yes to, what you stop apologizing for. This isn't about pretending. It's about reconnecting with the part of you that's always been there, underneath the self-doubt and delay. Because here's the truth. Your dream did not stick around to tease you. It stuck around because it belongs to you. You are not chasing it. You're becoming the version of yourself that can finally receive it. And the more you lean into that version of yourself, the more things start falling into place. That identity shift is what your body, mind, and instincts have been trying to point you toward all along. Because when you start thinking, feeling, and believing like someone who already lives that dream, even just internally, the world starts catching up. And just when you start to shift into that new identity, that new version of you who's actually ready for more, here comes the old belief that's been hanging out in the background for decades. Isn't it too late? Well, I'm here to tell you, the belief that it's too late was never yours in the first place. Seriously, that idea, it didn't come from you. It's the byproduct of a culture that celebrates early success and tells anyone over 60 to slow down, step aside, root for other people from the sidelines. But let's be honest, you're not done. You've got wisdom your younger self did not have. You've got clarity the younger you couldn't even picture. You've got freedom you didn't know you wanted back then. And now you get to use all of that to create something that finally fits without having to prove anything to anyone. That's not wishful thinking. That's what it looks like when your life finally starts to reflect who you really are, not just who you've felt you've had to be. So yes, it might mean rewriting some internal rules that say success only counts if it happens by a certain age. But those rules weren't written with your story in mind. Your timing isn't wrong. It just doesn't follow the schedule the world keeps pushing, but it's always been leading you right here. So if you've been sitting on a dream, telling yourself you'll let it go if it doesn't happen soon, ask yourself this: would you rather retire the dream or finally let it take shape in a way that fits who you are now? Because the dream isn't tired. It's just waiting for you to stop pretending it's too late. If you're still thinking about it, if it still lights you up, taps you on the shoulder during quiet moments, or shows up in unexpected ways, that's not nostalgia. That's a nudge. Start making small choices like someone who already sees this dream as part of who they are, because even when you've pushed it aside or paused it for years, the dream has a way of showing back up quietly, persistently, and usually when you least expect it. I don't know, like maybe on a random Tuesday afternoon. That's not nostalgia. It's your desire waking back up. Don't retire the dream just because it's taking its time. Maybe just retire the belief that you missed your chance. Let the dream be yours. Let it be now. Let it be fun and imperfect and beautifully your own. If this resonated with you, it would mean so much to me if you'd give this video a like and subscribe to the channel. It helps more than you know, and it lets me keep making videos for people just like you in the exact chapter we're all in. Thanks for hanging out with me. I want to tell you, the next chapter is coming soon.